Dale, great to have you on this morning. Some extremely exciting news for Savannah with the receipt of a positive DIA decision from Portugal's environmental regulator, APA. Firstly, how important is this milestone not only for Savannah, but for more widely for Portugal and Europe?
Thanks, Rosie. Yes, we are, as you said, extremely excited to announce this positive DIA this morning, which it's really the most important environmental approval in the licensing process here in Portugal. So I think, importantly, it's an endorsement of our project's design from the regulator. And I think it really signifies a major milestone for Savannah, as this now allows us to sort of begin work on the development of the Barroso Lithium project and get stuck back into the definitive feasibility study. Not only is it very significant for Savannah, but I think it also signifies a step forward for the development of the European supply chain for lithium-ion batteries as well. It's a topic that's been quite prominent, certainly through Europe over the last few years. I think the Barroso Lithium project will stand as an example for the future lithium projects. And it's the first positive DIA for a lithium raw material supply project here in Portugal. So it's really very important and will help put the country on the map as leading the way in the production of the lithium for the European battery supply chain. I think we believe there's also, a host of socio-economic benefits for both the communities as well as Portugal as a whole. So we really look forward to continuing to work with the local communities and also the wider Portuguese governing authorities, just to ensure that the project is developed with the utmost care in terms of looking after local communities as well as the environment.
Now, Dale, what were the key changes made to the EIA from the original project design from back in 2020?
We made several revisions to the project design. We're focusing largely on water resources, the layout of the project infrastructure. We had a close look at ecology and the landscape impacts from the potential sort of project layout, and also some other socio-economic considerations. I think importantly, throughout the process of updating the EIA, we remained really in regular contact with APA, local communities and stakeholders to ensure that when we did revise it, the new designs addressed all parties' previous concerns. So I think probably one of the most important things was water. It's very topical all around the world at the moment. This was one of the topics which we really discussed at length to try and come up with a suitable solution. So, through this project now, Savannah will be committing to can collect all its water from on site, from surface water sources, and also we're investing heavily into plant to retreat water and recycle water. So through this new design, we can guarantee that no water will be abstracted from the nearby Covas River. We've also created updated layouts for important things like new roads. So we'll be committing to build a new road from the access site all the way through to the A24 highway. So that will ensure that no traffic passes through the local villages. So this is going to be a really significant improvement for public access to the region also. So I think it will really benefit economic growth and freedom of movement for the locals in the area. I think from an environmental standpoint, we've updated both the landscape and the rehabilitation plans as well. So, really looking at the areas like tailings and the permanent waste storage facilities and infrastructure, and to ensure that, when we leave the project, it's as close as reasonably possible to us actually not being there. So, we've really put a lot of effort into the way we're going to rehabilitate this project. So, we're really excited by the project and where we're heading with it.
And Dale, do you want to touch a little bit more on some of the socio-economic benefits you see the project having for the local communities, and what initiatives have the team been undertaking in terms of engaging with local stakeholders?
I think there were going to be a lot of benefits. So there's quite a number of which we've detailed in our EIA. But I think today we'll just talk to a simple example, which is jobs. The project will generate over 200 direct jobs, and also a lot of our studies predict that will generate somewhere in the order of 5,000 indirect and induced jobs during the construction phase, and that'll sort of drop down to around 2,000 during the operating phase. So they're really quite significant numbers. And certainly some of our study work, which we've undertaken, is projecting that Portugal's gross value of national production will increase by 420 million during construction phase, and then $210 million per year during the operating phase. So we think, in the example of jobs, we believe the increased demand will created by the project and its workers will also transfer into, the requirement for goods and services, which will really build local business, things like restaurants and shops and those types of things. So, one of the things we've really tried to address in this updated EIA, is, investing into local communities. And we'll continue to listen as we go through the rest of the licensing process, and also work quite closely to ensure that the initiatives around programs like our benefit sharing program and our good neighbourhood plans really focus on those things that the community really needs.
So, Del, what are the next steps now for Savannah in terms of development of BLP?
Well, our next step is going to be doing an updated scoping study, which will be based on the revised DIA layout, which we've just got approved, but it'll also importantly be incorporating the current consensus spodumene concentrate price, which we haven't had an opportunity to do before. So we hope we'll see that out early in the second half of this year. And then I guess the other thing we'll be looking to get started again is our definitive feasibility study. So we've done a lot of work there already, but with the new updated design now approved as part of the EIA, we can look to finish this off. So it's going to be an exciting time for us. We'll be looking to do some more drilling. So we're looking to get the rigs going again, and that work program will take probably around 6 months to complete. And the entire DFS, we're probably looking somewhere around about 12 months after the field work starts. So we're continuing to stay, in regular contact with all the stakeholders out there, and continuing to, as I've mentioned, to work on all our programs and benefit sharings. But I think the other thing we'll be looking at as well is just finishing off the remainder of the environmental licensing work. So we have a thing called a recape, which we need to do, which is the more detailed design around the approved layout, which we've got. We expect that process to take somewhere in the order of 9 to 12 months. I think importantly, our target for production hasn't changed. We're still looking at somewhere in the first half of 2026. So we're pretty happy that we're largely staying on schedule at the moment.
Absolutely. So what other catalysts do investors have to look forward to in the coming 6 to 12 months?
Well, I think importantly, this positive decision's really significantly de-risked the project and marks the beginning of an extremely exciting time for Savannah and for Portugal, I think. The publication of the updated scoping study will allow us and our investors, I think, to have a much clearer picture of the economic fundamentals of the project in today's market and certainly around the more robust lithium prices. I think the last time we did the study was in 2018. So certainly it's a much more different pricing environment now. I think the other things, we look forward to updating on them, all the market on all the things we've just gone through. So we'll certainly have the DFS and information around that coming out, and certainly it's going to be a real pleasure for me to be able to release some updated drilling data. So we're really looking forward to that. As mentioned, we'll have the next stage of the environmental licensing, and we'll think importantly as well as we'll have all the ongoing sort of commercial discussions. So we'll be looking for offtake agreements, strategic partnerships, and that type of thing. So I think all in all, it's going to be a really busy and exciting time for the company, and we certainly look forward to sharing more news as it comes to hand over the coming months with our shareholders. So watch this space.
Dale, thank you very much.
Thanks, Rosie.